Select the three expressions that are equivalent to -2 times the quantity of 4 minus 3x plus the quantity of 5x minus 2. All right, I like the fact that they tell you there's three that are correct. So no one should have picked anything less or more than three. This is a callback to topic one where they're asking you to remember the rules with integers, adding, subtracting integers, multiplying and dividing integers. Multiplying and dividing integers have the same rule. So this is what this is asking about. Topic one from the beginning of the school year. So for adding integers, it depends on if they have the same sign or not. If they have the same sign, the rule is you just add the numbers together and you keep the sign that they have. So two positives equals a positive number, two negatives will equal a negative number. If you have different signs, you are to subtract and then keep the larger sign. So you would do 42 minus 36, which is 6. And then whatever sign has quote unquote the larger number, for example, in the first one, the 42 is larger, so the answer is a positive 6. In the second one, the 42 is still larger, but it's negative, so the answer is going to be negative 6. So here's another example. You just subtract the signs. Um, you subtract the numbers like regular. So in the second example, you have 40 minus 8, which is 32. So the question is that 32 going to be negative or positive? In this first instance, the quote unquote bigger number is the negative number, so it's negative 32. The quote unquote bigger number is a positive 40, which makes this a positive 32. So, yeah, for adding integers, it just depends on if the sign is the same or if it's different. For subtracting integers, it's a different rule. It's just add the opposite. So 3 minus a negative 5. Okay, we're going to add the opposite of a negative 5. The opposite of negative 5 is a regular 5. So it's really 3 plus 5. 10 minus 4. You should know that from kindergarten is 6. But if you want to add the opposite, you have 10 plus the opposite of a positive 4 is a negative 4. So 10 plus negative 4 is 6. 4 minus 3, you should know that from kindergarten if that equals 1. But if you want to add the opposite, that will be 4 plus the opposite of a positive 3 is a negative 3. So 4 plus negative 3 is 1. 2 minus 10. Okay, so 2 minus 10, positive 10. What's the opposite of a positive 10 is a negative 10. So you're going to add 2 plus negative 10 because you're adding the opposite, which is negative 8. 7 minus negative 15, you're going to add a positive 15 because you want to add the opposite, and that will be a positive 22. Multiplying and dividing has the same rule. If you have the same sign, the answer is going to be positive. If you have different signs, the answer is going to be negative. So look at the examples. You have a negative 3 times a negative 4. That's going to be a positive answer, which seems super weird. Positive times a positive obviously is a positive. You learned that in third grade. Different signs. So it don't matter if one of them is different or I mean, which one is different? So the first example, the -3 is different. You have a negative number. This next example, the -4 is different. So you have a negative answer. So if you have a positive and a negative being multiplied or divided, it is going to be negative. Same with division. If you have the same sign, it's the answer is going to be positive. If you have a a different sign, the answer is going to be negative. So it's the same rule with multiplying and dividing integers. All right, this one was super tricky because they gave you a factor of a -2. So -2 times 4 is -8 because you're multiplying opposites. So it's a -8. -2, it's times a positive, which makes it a -6. But you have to realize that subtraction sign is still subtraction. This has nothing. I just repeated it. So then I have this line, which is really important because you have this minus negative, which is a positive 6x. So this is actually one of the options that you have to select. -8 plus a positive 6x plus 5x minus 2, which is this one. So this was one of the options. Then they have an option where you combined these two, a positive 6x plus a positive 5x, combined like terms. They both belong in the family of x, which makes it 11x. But they kept the two integers, the two constants, out. So they kept the -8 and the -2. So that is a second option, which is here, this one. Okay, this is positive. Okay, then the last option, remember I said it was 3, was the final combining like terms, right? -8 minus 2 is 2, which is a -10. This is basically a negative. This is a negative. Two positives combined is a positive 11x. So that the third answer was uh, this one. So those were the three answers that were correct. All right, this one I would actually have it read it to me. I cannot do that here because I'm looking at the answers and under teachers. But something like this, where it's a lot of kind of wordiness, and I have to hear what is actually happening and what they're asking for, I would have it read it to me. Adrienne drives by a stoplight near her home once every morning. The stoplight has red, yellow, and green lights. She wants to know the probability of the light being red on 2 of the mornings. So, so for this, I know on your IXL, it has asked you normally if you want to know for red, it'll be red out of the 3 choices, and she did it for 2 mornings, so the answer will be 2/3. But they actually want you to do the list, so I just listed each option out. Looks like there's 9 different options for each morning. So you could, for the 2 mornings, you could do red, yellow, red, green, red, red. So these are the 2 mornings for if you had red on the first time, and so on and so forth. So the answer for this one would be D. D would be the answer. A scientist records A scientist records the number of deer observed in the 3 areas of a forest. The table shows her observations: Area A, Area B, Area C. Square miles. Square miles makes me think of area, number of deer. Okay, let's see what the question says. How many deer per square mile did the scientist observe in the forest? Okay, so for this one, They didn't say which area. So I'm going to give the answer for all three areas. So what I'm going to do is add up the deer for all the areas, and then I'm going to add up the square miles for all the areas and just do simple division. Okay. This is a non-calculator part, so I'm just going to add up these three-digit numbers, and then I have to add up these three two-digit numbers, and then I have to do long division. All right, so that's the plan. All right, so I did the work on this sheet of paper. So, like I said, I added together how many deer I had. I added together how many square miles I had, and I just did division. Just so happened it divided evenly into 9. So the answer is 9. I did a little estimate. I did 61 times 10 is 610. And I was like, oh, that's kind of close to 549. So then I tried 61 times 9 and got exactly 549. So the answer is 9. This is definitely one that I would let it read to me because it's a lot going on. I don't have that option because I'm on the teacher mode. But it says a container in the shape of a rectangular prism holds 651.168 cubic inches. This cubic inches tells me that this is the volume. Square inches, it would have been the area, but this is volume. When completely filled with water, filling something with water, that's again a clue for volume. The container has a length of 12.6 inches. The width is 15.2. They want to know the height. So they want to know if you know how to add, multiply, divide with decimals. So let's go ahead and write the information out. So for this one, what I actually end up doing was first I multiplied. So first off, remember volume is the area of the base times the height. Um, since this had to be some type of, I think, cube or something, you can think of it as length times width times height. But if it's a different shape, it's the area of the base times the height. So they gave us the length and the width. They're asking for the height. They also gave us the volume. So I multiplied the length and the width. I had to do it by hand because this is a non-calculator portion, which was not 191.52. Got that answer. Now I'm missing the height, but they gave me the volume. So guess what I need to do? Divide. Okay. You can divide decimals. Now, the one rule with dividing decimals is you cannot have a decimal in the divisor. So this the decimal here is a no-no. So I went ahead and did my swoops, and I swooped out. And because I swooped out, I swooped on this one. You see how I did two swoops, and I did two swoops on the dividend as well. So then I just carried on with my life. I ended up having to do repeated addition because this is an ugly number. So I did repeated addition. Um, this so I went in 3 times and got a 3. Did my subtraction, and then thank goodness this number matched this number, which let me know that this was 4. So this is 3.4. Sorry, I don't know why I put another 4. So the answer is 3.4. So, if you are not strong in your multiplying or dividing decimals, I could see this being a huge issue. If you want to pause it and kind of see what I was thinking about, but I ended up doing repeated addition. Why? Because this number is ugly. So I did repeated addition, and I found out 3 times. Then I did my subtraction, and then thank goodness the fourth time ended up being exactly what it was. So the answer is 3.4. The answer is 3.4.